We talked about predictive analytics and maintenance side of things. There is a lot of applications. I'm sure most companies are using it in some form. So in the way we operate at Lemongrass, I can see a lot of applications. So we are, the technology that is used, it's only inside our environments. And our guys know when things are failing with the capability that AI has provided them. And I've spoken to one of my clients who was saying, like, for example, they have teams in multiple parts of the world, different languages and stuff. So if someone asks for help, they can type in their native language, and AI can do a translation in a different language, and it can be responded, and it can be communicated. So what we are doing is making the response time and the closure times of incidents smaller. So a lot of practical applications that we necessarily didn't think about is now possible with AI. And also it comes with other challenges on how do you actually manage it? At what point in time a human intervenes and questions the information that is provided? We as humans have the intuition and other abilities that which necessarily AI doesn't have. And how do we blend that human abilities, the inherent abilities that we have with the information that is being made available to us through different technologies like AI? So that's a very different path that we will possibly need to navigate.
Yeah, I like the mentor-mentee kind of approach, where if you have different people with different understandings, even different languages and cultures, like Gen AI is providing that nuanced win there. And so that makes it a lot easier for a multi-global company. That makes it easier for even like United States companies to work with other companies because they don't speak the same language, but hey, like we can actually translate that now, right? So on that, like Nanda, yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanted to add to what Judith is saying. It's a great point in terms of, human strengths versus AI strengths. And I think a great way to look at AI is as a prediction engine. So it's predicting things, whether it is a text, it's an audio, it's a video, it's a next frame, it's predicting. And it can go on to predict various things, whether it's your DNA sequences. We just spoke about predictive analytics, right? It's predicting. It's basically about generating based on the past data. It's just, I should not say just, but it is predicting next step, right? Whereas what humans are good at is judgment. So we can judge whether these things are right or wrong, right? So, and that's why I said it will give you a draft order, and then the human decides whether to place that order based on what this one came up with, right? Similarly, email, you just now, Doug, you mentioned about books, yeah, you have to you can take the help of an AI, but don't copy paste it out there. You got to make your judgment, make use of it, make it yours, and then present it. So I think it's very useful way to look at it is in terms of AI as a prediction engine and human for judgment, and use each other's strengths, and don't just go by, okay, here is AI. And we tend to basically anthropomorphize AI and make it more human-like. But I think the AI has its lot of limitations. It's mostly a prediction engine, and use it as that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So I agree with all that, and especially the fact that it predicts, and it's going to be more and more served up as like an assistant or a co-pilot or someone that's working in collaborative with humans that is giving those like not answers, but it's giving those suggestions. So it's a suggestion engine, right? So it's like, hey, I see this pattern. I did this analytics. This is what I'm seeing. I suggest we look at this, and the human goes like, no, I'm good. No, it's it. But in general, so Andy, yeah.
No,
So
yeah,
from your
Hey,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan. Sorry.
No, I was just going to agree with Doug. Yeah, humans should be there to override what it is saying at times, Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say, if you think back to the origin of the ERP software, which is decades ago, excuse me, this same logic was the purpose of the ERP system, was to take historical data and help the human make a decision regarding predictive maintenance or what the future is going to be. AI, I think, is just the next level towards all of that. And it eliminates even more of the variation of the human element, so that the people that are still involved are going to have the accurate information to make their own decisions.
Yeah, and I think I want to add to that is that what has changed with ERP is that, it's been a backend system. It's been collecting all this data for all these years.
Yeah.
So what happens now, Andy, is that, yes, I mean, there was that promise. Now is the time when
We got no problem with collecting data. We got tons of that.
yeah, exactly. So now is the time to get the data, collate the data, clean the data, and use it for all
And
these.
use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff with when you look to bring in Gen AI, that companies ask like, hey, how is your data filtered? How is it categorized? So all these things that we don't do, we all need to start doing, right? And so ERP systems should be doing that as well. Is like, what does that data live? How does it live? Where does it go when it's in motion? And who has access to that data? So there's definitely a longer road ahead, it seems. I think everybody kind of agrees, like we're just at the beginning still, and especially touching a lot of the platform plays that are out there, especially these large ones like ERP systems that embody the whole world and how it's working in the back end when it comes to like data and manipulation of like where those things that are being purchased and whatnot. So yeah, so future wise, where do we think it's going? Like if we get that right, say we get the information, say we're driving down and we're dialing it in, and we have these agents that are helping us to do the suggestions and giving us those suggestions. Like what is like the good future or that look like? What do we see? What are the users? What is that user like experience going to be like?
Well, from a positive experience, the more accurate the data, the more we can forecast. And going back to Nandan's suggestion, the more human can make the judgments. The AI is going to calculate the trends, tell you what it expects is going to happen. It's up for us to make the final decisions.
Yeah, and I think one great opportunity is there for ERP. I think ERP, like Doug, you mentioned about, ERP should take care of data and all those things. I think there is a opportunity for ERP to do that, ensure that, we are building the right data, but also the ERP can be completely transformed, right from dashboards. I just the other day was looking at a CRM dashboard, how it can be so much different with the generative AI. It can be like, tailored to Andy or Ronald or Judith, and they're looking at a dashboard which is actually very personalized to them and giving them the action items, the next steps to take. And then you're actually clicking a button and then it says, okay, yeah, your spindle for the predictive analytics we made for the maintenance is ordered, just going back to the earlier example. But so I'm saying that there is a big opportunity for this whole AI to be embedded in the ERP, and then it becomes so much more powerful for in every organization that has an ERP and can make use of that data better.
Yeah, but before we go any further, then Doc, I want to say something about that. That goes back to what you said about delving into something. So the same thing with Andy was saying, like we were not allowed to use calculators in school, and now everybody is using it, and now blindly following information from the AI without any wisdom. That's a big problem, right? So experience in that sense. So I think for organizations who are, going on that transition, that they need to keep in mind that the core knowledge, the core information that people need to have about their job and about the outcome of certain actions, that they need to understand it. That if they get advice, that's probably the reason, or that's one of the main reasons that AI is not allowed to give any advice to a patient in healthcare. It's always going through a doctor, right? So we need to have the human at the gate. We need to have that human to take that information and say, okay, I have this insight, I have all this information, now I'm applying my knowledge, and now it becomes wisdom, right? So now we can go one step further, and now we can really truly execute that information. I just wanted to add that before we go maybe to another.
Yeah, and I think that's what I said in terms of judgment versus prediction. So yeah, AI is giving you suggestions, and AI people decide later. Decide with people first.
Yeah, Judith, did you have something to add there?
So I'd like to add to that perspective, right? So this AI gives an opportunity for humans to be humans. We are born with wisdom, and we are there to use the knowledge that is around us. And AI is one more tool to provide that knowledge. It's just one more angle. Humans have the wisdom, the intuition, the ability to control things. End of the day, the gatekeeper, as Ron said, it has to be the human. And whatever field we are, let's specialize on it and let's direct the AI on where it needs to be as well. And this is bringing back to humans being humans and making the right decisions.
I think humans in general want to trust other humans, right? And you wouldn't want, again, like back to Andy's point of counting money, you wouldn't want an AI telling you how, or like giving you direction on your job to help you, assist you to count the money, to assist you to get things done or do more. Fantastic, let's do it. To tell you when to clock in, when to clock out, when to go home, maybe not.
Yeah.
Or when to sleep. So
Yeah, so when we used to do RPA in the earlier days, we used to say that our job is to take the bot out of the human, which
Right.
means that, and that's been the thing, because a lot of our work is repetitive work. And one of the challenges, I think, for people is to get that bot out and then be more human. Like Judith said, we are born with that innate wisdom, but many times we have replaced that wisdom with a lot of repetitive work we're doing in our job. So we need to bring that humanness back. I think that's the challenge next.
Yeah, I think if, on that point, right, and again back to Andy's point, where we used to teach people repetition, and that was the way, like memorize these numbers, be good at that, and because we had to be, right. But the younger generations, they don't have to be. They're actually more creative. They're thinking outside the box in most cases, and that's why
And accomplishing more.
right, exactly. And like some generations hate on the younger ones and vice versa, but we have like literally 4 generations working in the workforce right now. And so the younger ones, they get it. They're like, how do we automate this stuff? How do we drive this Gen AI? Let's do it. I don't want to do anything. I want to like touch a button and go. And then the old generation's like, but I've always done this. I'm really good at that. It's almost like they forgot how to think creatively because they weren't allowed to, right? They just weren't allowed.
Yes.
Yeah, and exactly to my point, I was saying it about the older generation in the sense that, trying to being more human, because the younger generation do get it. I mean, I've seen all the younger generation are intuitively good at it.